You have one new voicemail.
Hi! So you would be so proud of me. I'm hosting Thanksgiving for my friends, and I was stressed because I really wanted it to feel just like Michigan. But then I found the same stuffing mix that you use on Instacart. And I ordered instant gravy, canned cranberry, what else? Oh, I got everyone a little butter sculpture shaped like a turkey. All right, I should probably get cooking, but I miss you today. Happy Thanksgiving, Mom. Oh, and you should download Instacart. It's way easier than sending Dad to the store.
Download Instacart and enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of History on Hyenas. Chrissy D, Yanni P. We got a special guest today.
Tiki B.
Tiki Barber.
That flows nice.
Absolutely. We're
on an episode of Beastmaster right now. Chris is about to get fired again.
I'm about to get fired again. Me and Giannis P will be we're Tiki Barber's new linemen.
Yeah.
We're just cute linemen, and thank you for coming to the show. You're looking good again, Svelty.
I'm running.
You always look good.
But I'm running now. See, I think when we first met.
No, you were running.
But I had just started.
Right.
I think I was the first one because you said you were on the other side of the Verrazano Bridge when I came over.
Yeah. Tiki, yeah. I had mozzarella stick in my mouth.
I didn't see you.
Yeah.
But we worked together right after that. But I was still like 200 pounds. I'm like 180 now.
Oh, you look freaking shredded, ripped.
I got a young life. I got to stay young.
Dude, you look good.
And a kid's been working out. He looks good when it's 20 degrees out and he takes all his clothes off to just let everybody know.
He's got
a tight,
everybody know.
It's 15 degrees out. The kid's got a tight shirt on.
And he's got a nice thin
medium. Yeah.
He's got a nice thin tight shirt on. And by the end of this podcast, I will be in his lap. I will be sitting in Tiki's lap like I did on Beastmaster.
I feel like we did that out in California.
We probably did.
Yeah.
Ultimate Beastmaster. Tiki Barber and I hosted the second season of it.
Most random collection of American hosts ever.
And then I got fired. Hold on.
You got to explain this to me.
Because
I don't get it.
Okay, so here's what happened. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. So we filmed that show.
Yes. It was hilarious, by the way.
We had a great time. Yeah. We filmed it in whatever February or March of 2016, right? But it didn't come out until January of 2017. But in November of 2016, Trump got elected. So obviously things swayed. So the jokes that were approved, like when I said that kid, remember that kid Bin Fong?
Yes.
That Chinese guy? Yeah. And then I said, when he fell off the obstacle course, I go, there goes Bin Fong into the duck sauce.
That's right. It was funny.
I know.
Everybody laughed.
I got fired. And then I was doing other jokes. And then remember with our Indian co-host, Sarah, they were having me run into the booth. They were telling me, go run into the booth and go do Netflix and chill. They were like, people were tweeting that it was fucking harassment.
That's right.
You know what's dope though? Sarah herself, I reached out to her. I was like, I'm getting flooded with these fucking tweets. Like, did I make you feel uncomfortable? She was like, I'm from India. She's like, there's packs of men that come around and rape women in the towns.
Yeah.
She's like, because you said Netflix and chill on public television, I don't have a problem with that, Chris.
I think also part of the problem is that I'll tell you a quick story. So I'm in an elevator. My studio for CBS is literally 4 blocks from here. So I'm in the elevator at CBS. This kid looks at me and goes, I know you. And I'm looking at him like, dude, you're way too young to have watched me when I was playing. Like, he's like 10 or 11.
Maybe he knows you from Kinky Boots.
Maybe. But he's like 10 or 11. And I've been retired for a decade. I'm like, dude, you were like a thought when I was playing football, right?
Yeah.
And so he goes, Ultimate Beastmaster.
Yeah.
He goes, you're the host from Ultimate Beastmaster. Yeah. So you know what I think happened?
Yeah.
I think originally they designed the show for adults.
Right.
For adults to watch it. But kids loved it.
Right.
Like my kids love watching the show.
Yeah.
So when it moved down into a younger demographic.
Yeah.
some of those jokes were a little racy.
Right, look crazy.
I think he's right. I think it became a family show.
That's right.
You also have to remember at that time, because at that time was exactly when that Tiki torch thing was happening. So when Trump got elected,
that's true.
you
Right.
went from just looking like a football punter, to like a Tiki, and then it's subconsciously maybe they heard the word Tiki and looked at your face, and it like subconsciously like advertising got in there, and you're just right.
I look like a national, but it's like, it's so funny just like how things go, because I look like, some crazy fucking white
And then,
nationalist.
that kid with the hair, same haircut as you. What was his name? The Richard Spencer was making the rounds on television.
But
bad timing.
But it's so crazy because like I just never responded to anybody, right? Like just smart. It was like a tweet storm for like 2 weeks. I was like,
you can't fight it.
Like every fucking day. But then I never said anything, right? And then I came out like, as time went on, I started doing like jokes about it and being like the duck sauce shit, whatever. And now almost like weekly, people tweet at me how funny they thought I was. It's like the whole thing. You can't find a negative tweet.
In real time, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like they loved it. I remember getting the feedback in our ears. Like, do that again. Just say it a different way.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
I mean, I was calling people. I remember there was this, and then I got in trouble too because so one of Team India had a team, and like the United States and China had like ex-Olympic athletes. And remember there was a dude, Rishi Patel, who I was calling Rishi's peanut butter cups. And then one of
was he the guy that wouldn't get off the platform?
He wouldn't get off the platform, but I got in trouble too for this. They were like, "How could you talk bad about India?" And then all like these fucking Indian activists. I was like, "I'm just fucking kidding." They were like, because the Team USA, like I said, we had like the stats for Team USA would be like ex-Olympic athlete, and then this guy Rishi Patel's bio that we had to read, they said he rides a bike 20 miles to work every day. It's like, and this guy fucking made Team India. Right. I was like, you guys suck. and then he didn't even get off the platform. And people like, you start to, his confidence. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah. No, they sped it up on the show, by the way, but he was standing up there for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I swear to God, he was like, I'm going to go.
And it was funny too, because I was like a fat fucking just pudgy, I had just like a girl's body back then. And then we did like this big shoot where like all the hosts were in the competitors' outfits, which is like a full leotard spandex. And then we were posing for the picture. Then one of the, Tiki looked ripped. And then one of the producers came over and was like, "Can we get a jacket on Chris?" Because it was just, because my tits were just like this.
I'll be honest with you.
But now I'm not anymore.
No, now you're jacked.
Not jacked. I got to get Tiki jacked.
No, that's impossible.
Start running.
Yeah. Here's as a spectator, I'll just be honest with you guys now that it's kind of over, right? Can I just be honest?
Yeah.
You guys were the best part of the show because that show was fucking stupid.
It was volunteer firefighters jumping off lily pads through a dragon's mouth. I love like having, and it's like so funny, like because now in like the age of a podcast and our fan bases are like, just like there's no executives involved, but it's like to listen, and it's not just the Ultimate Beast Master, but all these shows like in LA to listen to like these executives who really like, they're like, isn't that a catchy? It's a dragon's mouth. It's going to be revolutionary. It's like, no, it's not, stupid. It's a fucking big dumb fucking dragon.
It was like American
and these
Gladiators.
firefighters are jumping off lily pad. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about?
It was if you watch American Gladiators on acid, it would look like that.
Well,
yeah.
I appreciated it as an athlete and actually tried the course. And
oh my God,
spectacularly,
dude! I got
it's
video.
Hard, man.
Yeah.
It was like really, really hard.
It did look hard.
I don't think the complexities of the stunts translated well because that shit was not easy, man.
Right.
And these kids were. Who was the guy who won? And,
the French kids, right?
No, not they lost because it was a Chinese kid.
I was checked out.
But he was amazing. Like, he just kind of toyed with the whole thing.
I think it was Bin Feng one.
I think you're right.
I think his name was Bin
toyed
Feng.
with this thing.
Yeah.
And it was hard, legit hard. And I don't think it translated. So yes, it might have been stupid, but it was hard, man.
Yeah.
I appreciated the
even to watch Tiki, who's a world class athlete. Like you got through parts of that obstacle course that those kids were making look fucking easy. Yeah.
And I'm struggling. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah, but like if you're I'm not gonna say real athlete, but like a professional athlete like Tiki, part of you were probably like you got on it and you were like, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
Well, you guys getting paid for this? What are we doing here?
The problem is I weighed 200 pounds at the time.
You and Chris?
If you weren't 120, 130, no shot.
It was
When you were at peak, you could do it though. You think, right?
It was worse.
Yeah,
it was worse because it's all body weight, right? Like it's mostly hanging, like holding. So how long can you hold your body weight? That's basically what this competition was.
Right.
And if you're over 150, 60 pounds, you can hold your body weight for maybe 20 seconds.
Right.
Maybe. Now and then these guys are doing it for a minute, 2 minutes.
And then those kids, you had kids from like the French team, like they were like they climb buildings. Parkour was like their sport. So like,
what was their name?
Remember I think
they were brothers.
They're brothers. They were excellent.
Two black kids from France.
They were
I remember their names.
Those kids, they were really, really good.
I still follow them on Instagram.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, they're in ISIS
they
now.
get up these.
Stop. I'm kidding,
dude. Parkour is nuts when you see those videos.
Yeah.
It is like what they do. You're like, it almost looks superhuman.
Yeah.
They don't even look like human beings.
No, the athletes at that Ultimate Beastmaster show, they did look like what they were doing was unbelievable. And then after the competitions, it was a sex fest in the pool with them. I mean, I was like, wow. I would look.
You're giving away state secrets
because I had a view of the pool, and I was just sitting there.
That's true.
Just being like, wowsies. I mean, these kids are
true,
just having sex left and right. But what can you do?
They were like these tiny ass bikinis. I mean,
and the ripped bodies. But like, what do you think happens in the Olympics, man? Like, you don't think that fucking they go and bang each other? It's the same shit.
Yeah.
It's beautiful people at top.
Especially those athletes that are done after like a day. You got 2 weeks in wherever, you're done after a day.
Yeah, I'm just in the Olympic Village just trying to get a blowjob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a picture right there, you guys. You still look in shape there. You're deceptive.
Tiki Barber?
I was
Tiki's in phenomenal shape.
But Chris was in good shape.
Yeah, you got that's a good jawline check right there. You got a strong jawline.
No, but I wasn't like in shape, you know?
Yeah.
I was like disgusting.
I kept the clothes, by the way.
You kept the clothes?
Yeah.
They never mailed them to me. I never got them.
You guys think I got that season? I got the next season's clothes.
Wait, go back a minute to you. In their leather jacket, they kind of look like a buddy cop movie, no?
Yeah. And it was so funny because I didn't know that I got fired. I had no idea. Tiki texted me when he was already out in LA. He's like, "Yo, where are you?" Because I got replaced with CM Punk, whose name is Chris. So Tiki just saw Chris on the trailer. He was like, "Oh, Chris is here," but it was CM Punk.
Yeah.
And then I spoke to my manager. He was like, "They never told us."
Yeah.
And then I was just like, "Oh, I guess I'm not coming back."
It serves him right. That's why we didn't get a fifth season.
Yeah.
Dude, you were a Twitter casualty.
Oh my God.
If Twitter wasn't around, you would have never been fired.
Yeah, I would never been fired.
It would never happen.
Yeah. But listen.
But you used it as a launching pad.
As a launching pad, I'm telling you, I do talk about it in my act now. I get so many people that will message me that they watch the show because they want to see when I said the duck sauce, things that I say. They're like, "Yo, I'm looking through these episodes."
Yeah.
Whitney Cummings is a famous comedian out in LA. She's like, "Yo, I saw you on the Ultimate Beastmaster. I was watching it, laughing at the shit that you say on the podcast." Great. So it's like. But
that was my first interaction with a comedian, like intimately getting to know a comedian. Because Chris, when I was not joking, we bonded, for a while.
Right away, dude.
And he's telling me all his problems, my girl, a baby. I mean, what the heck am I gonna do?
I know that was just.
He's
when,
like, I'm deep, I'm dark. I'm like, what do you mean? You're funny as hell. Yeah, but it comes from a dark place.
I know, because I was going through it. That was like,
I know,
because now we're like officially like 2 years co-parents. It's like the best time. It's totally over. But at that point, that was like,
got rid of the nonsense relationship.
I know. Yeah, I got rid of the bullshit, and now it's like, we're just focused on the baby.
Yeah.
But I remember when that was going on, I was like, yo, and then was gone. We were gone because we were gone for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it was a while.
And this guy was a monster. This guy, he would work because we would film the show at night because the producer
you need to look.
Yeah, the beast will look cool at night. I'm like, whatever you say. So it's just whatever, these dumb ideas. So they do. So they do the show, and then we're filming from 10 p.m. to like 6 o'clock in the morning. So and then this guy would I'd go sleep. This guy would go right to his fucking radio show at a studio in LA and do the radio show, and then sleep for like 3 hours, and then go run, go jog, buy property.
Yeah.
Just like this guy would jog and buy random plots of land and make parking garages while I'm trying to just text my baby mama and just force feeding fucking.
Don't fly out here and kill me.
Yeah. Oh my God.
When you're a professional athlete, you have to have a work ethic. No,
no, you just figure it out. You know what it started from, to be honest with you?
Yeah.
When I was playing at the end of my career, I was doing Fox and Friends. And so I was waking up some days at like 3 a.m. to go do Fox and Friends. And then I'd go right from Fox and Friends to the stadium in the Meadowlands in New Jersey. And so like my sleep schedules were all jacked up. And so I just learned to sleep when I was tired. Like when you have 45 minutes, you have like 3 hours, just go lay down and take a nap, right? You just got to be on the floor, you do it on the floor.
Right.
Hopefully you find a couch, right?
Yeah.
You eat when you're hungry, and you just learn to adjust your schedule to whatever you need. And so it helped me when I was out there because I couldn't take off from my show for 3 weeks.
Right.
I'm doing this national sports radio show. I can't be like, see you guys, peace.
Right.
So I figured it out. It worked, actually.
Right. When comedians get shows, like we treat them kind of, we're fish out of water a little bit. When someone's like, don't say that, stand over there. We're like, I get paid to do the opposite.
Yeah.
I get paid to like say what I want and stand where I want.
Yeah. It's like, that's why when I did that show, I was like, when I was getting all the backlash, I was like, what did you want a comedian to do? I'm not a politician.
Yeah.
It's like, of course I'm going to say stupid shit. That's why you hired me to do that.
That's why the juxtaposition of you two guys is like he was going to say more
That's right.
than normal.
I was the straight guy.
Yeah, you were the straight guy. And you were Jerry Lewis, but disturbed.
And you know what's the hypocrisy of that shit is, and I say this on stage to the fans, it's like the Chinese team, when I said Bin Feng goes into the duck sauce, there was a clip of it, and Bin Feng himself retweeted it. The Chinese hosts, I forgot what their names were. They were like, "Hey, that was funny," and then, but I got fired, by just some white woman. It was just like, okay, so like they don't care, but you guys are pretending that you do. But ultimately, looking back, it's funny. It's just funny thing. And I got to meet Tiki. And now Tiki's my friend.
Exactly.
That's probably the best thing that came out of the show.
Tiki Barber.
Get to become
Absolutely.
friends with Tiki Barber.
Man, I'm happy you're doing the show because Super Bowl's coming up. So we wanted to know, first of all, who do you think?
On its surface, I got to say the San Francisco 49ers. They're just dominant offensively. I mean, they threw the ball 8 times last week.
I know.
And rushed for 300 yards or whatever it was. And so it's old school. Right? But they have a great defense. And I think John Lynch has done a good job building the team. This is like my football talk.
That's why we want John.
Football talk. But I have this sentiment for Andy Reid. Like Andy Reid, he's entering that territory of the greatest coach to never have won a Super Bowl. He's got the sixth most playoff wins at 14. And he's the only one in the top 5 or 6 or 7 that doesn't have a Super Bowl.
Right.
And so he's been there once with the Eagles, and now he's back with the Kansas City Chiefs. I love Patty Mahomes.
Yeah.
The only way they're winning is if they shoot it out. If it's got to be a shootout, it's the only way they're going to win.
Right.
If they slow it down and try to play like football, like your grandfather and father, they're going to lose.
They're going to lose.
They got to just open it up and go crazy.
And I feel like, Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, the kid, is there a more handsome quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo?
He's a cute kid.
I mean, the thing is, he might have just gotten them there because he only threw the ball 8 times, but the kid's just so cute that they were like, you know what? It's hard to even sack him because the thing is, if you sack a guy like Garoppolo, you may kiss him on the lips. So I feel like the guy's like, you know what? I don't want to be on camera kissing a guy on the lips.
You know what's funny? So yesterday we had me and Brandon Tierney, my co-host on Tiki and Tierney, we were talking about, because remember, he was with the Pats. Right. So we were talking about 3 or 4 years ago when there was like a little bit of a dust up with the Patriots. Like, oh, Jimmy G's got to go. Tom Brady's feeling threatened. Like they have to trade him. It's an ultimatum being handed down. And at the time, I'm like, but why? I mean, Tom Brady's the best quarterback that we've seen. He's the best one of our generation. Why are you threatened by Jimmy Garoppolo? Right. And so you fast forward 3 years later, here he is with the $100 million contract out in San Francisco. He's led a team that was a doormat for the last 3 or 4 years after the whole Colin Kaepernick fiasco out there, to now being back in the Super Bowl. He looks the part. It's like now I look back at that Patriots conversation. I'm like, oh, now I get it. Right. When Tom Brady's done, you want the Hollywood stereotype for superstar quarterback to take over for the Hollywood stereotype for Super Bowl quarterback. So it made sense after seeing where Jimmy Garoppolo has grown.
He might have even been threatened to just have him around Giselle.
Yeah,
I don't want that jawline anywhere near my wife.
Yeah, Tom Brady. Well, now they're saying Brady's might play for an LA team. Do you believe that? Or you think he can't leave the Patriots?
They're saying Vegas.
Oh, okay.
They're saying Vegas, the Las Vegas now Raiders.
Dude, if you're the Patriots, you got to let him do what he wants.
Well,
if he wanted to play another,
but the thing
is 6 Super Bowls. Come on.
But the thing is like this, though. It's like, I know 6 Super Bowls, but really Belichick. I mean, I'm not saying it's all Belichick, but it's like, let Brady do what he wants. But I feel like Belichick just finds pieces.
Yeah, because even when he was hurt, they still won.
There's only one reason why Tom Brady would not go back and sign with the New England Patriots, because he wants to prove that he can do it without that system.
Right.
That system is unbelievable.
Yeah.
The attention to detail, the little things.
The cheating,
but behind the facade that we all see of the NFL,
Yeah.
it's all like situations. So like 3rd and 2 in the fourth quarter with 2.5 minutes left. What do you do, right? Or you got a punt situation in the right before halftime. You might want to take a penalty, but you could go for it because it's a short field. What do you do? It's situational football.
Right.
The New England Patriots are the best team that I've ever seen at situational football. So it's like they don't blow people out. Like looking back at all their Super Bowls, they're not like blowouts. I mean,
a lot of times they were down and came back.
Well, I guess the second half of the Atlanta Super Bowl, which was 3 or 4 years ago, that was a second half blowout. But they also got blown out in the first half.
Right.
But they don't win games by like 20. They win games by like a field goal.
Yeah.
Or, hey, we got a last second drive and we score the winning touchdown. Yeah. It's because they play the situations.
Yeah.
So when you play like close to the vest, it's easy not to get, lapped.
Right.
But you also don't lap people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're kind of like the Utah Jazz of the NFL, except they win Super Bowls.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Utah Jazz did. They were very situational. It's like
Utah Jazz.
I'll just say it. They also had a lot of white players.
Yeah. No,
I mean, Hogan, was he a lacrosse player 2 years ago?
I know Julian Edelman. I mean, you got Jews just running around scoring touchdowns. Yeah.
Amendola, the kid looks like my dentist.
Yo, you know
Edelman's not Jewish, is he?
Edelman's a Jewish name.
Edelman is.
Yeah.
But is he Jewish?
He's like, I think he's one of those like maybe part or half or 20%.
I did not know that.
I think,
Edelman, if he is, he's like now the most famous Jew.
Yeah.
It used to be Fiedler?
Yeah. Or
Sandy Koufax was a big one.
No, that's baseball player. NFL. Yeah. No, I don't even know.
But when you do Jews, you can do all sports because it's just like 5 total.
Yeah.
So
but they're good.
Hank Greenberg, Sandy Koufax, and Julian Edelman.
Dude, this is a story, and this is like it was told.
Oh, and Amari Stoudemire.
Amari Stoudemire's Jewish.
He's Jewish. Yeah.
Selectively Jewish.
Yeah. They so you know what's funny about the Utah Jazz and John Stockton is because like he's like a devout religious man, like Mormon guy, whatever. And I was doing this hosting this show for like the NBA, and I was interviewing Gary Payton, and I was asking the glove, baby, and I was asking Gary Payton. I was like, who's the hardest guy? Like, because he when we were interviewing him, he was saying. Part of my defensive strategy was mind games. I would talk shit, and he said I could get everybody. I said, was there anybody you couldn't get? He said, John Stockton, man. He said, John Stockton by far. He said, the hardest dude ever. He's like, white guy, pulled up shorts, floppy hair.
Why? Because he couldn't trash
He said, he's the guy I could not. No, this is what he told me. He said, because I knew how religious John Stockton was.
He felt bad.
No, he said the thing is with John Stockton, he would take it to the extreme. And he said, I would do shit. He said, I would say things. He said, I'll never forget. He said, we're playing Utah. He said, it's like we're both top teams. He's like, and John Stockton is fucking killing me. He said, and I'm just like D'ing up on him. And he's like, and I was saying wild shit to him. He was like, yeah, John, guess what? I fucked your mother last night. and then he said he would like do a crossover and be like, she's a nice lady. And alley-oop to Carmelo. He said,
I see why you did that. She's really beautiful.
He would say, and then he said something. He said something. He was like, hey, John, I heard that you stick bananas in your ass at halftime. He goes, a lot of potassium. Threw an alley-oop. He said, so you couldn't. He said you could say the most vile things to him, and he wouldn't care at all.
Yeah.
He would just and then he said he shook my hand after the game and was like, pleasure. So, because he's like he beat the shit out of us.
You couldn't rattle him.
You couldn't rattle him. He said, so John Stockton. He said it was so funny because it's like you could not rattle this guy. He was like, I'm just playing ball.
That's all.
And I was like, and he never swears. He'd pick you up, but he was calm, cool, and collected. He's like, that's the hardest guy I ever defended. I was like, wow.
Did you have to deal with a lot of shit talking, or did you talk shit?
No, I mean, you guys remember, I played with a smile, man.
Yeah.
I'd have defenders picking me up off the field and be like, oh, good hit, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. That's some energy I saved myself. John Randall talked a lot of trash early in my career, but I didn't play him very often. He was with the Vikings. I think the worst one, it wasn't even bad because it was religious. Similarly.
Yeah.
It was Peter Boulware. With the Ravens in the Super Bowl, because he was not this kind of guy who would just say like, well, Jesus loves you.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, what?
It freaks you out.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
Huh? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You just knocked the shit out of me. What are you talking about?
Psycho.
Jesus loves me.
And he would just
makes it worse.
But it does. Because
Yeah.
you want to get mad, but you're like, wait, I can't get mad.
I was at dinner. I was at a dinner last night at Il Molino right here, and Ray Lewis was in there. And I was like, I was funny because I was like, I got to ask Tiki. Like, just seeing him now, 10 years removed, I'm like, this guy is so imposing, like the way he is in his leather jacket. And I know, like, was it ever like a guy like a Ray Lewis? Does he truly like put fear in you? Where
Why are
like,
you
I don't
bringing
want
up
to get
my
hit by
bad
this
memory?
guy?
Why are you bringing up my worst memory in my career, man?
I'm just because I'm trying to get clicks. It's all about clickbait, Tiki.
Super Bowl 35 was like traumatizing.
Yeah, you should talk to my father. He fucking lost his family because of it.
Yeah, he lost Chris's money.
Kid gambled my mother's whole life savings away.
But he really
Thanks,
thought we
Tiki.
were going to win?
You ruined my fucking life.
I think
I have a T-shirt kind of in my mouth.
Ray Charles sang America the Beautiful that game. And after that, it was downhill, man.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Ray was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's Ray. And he's like right there next to us. Like, dude, that's Ray Charles,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And then they just
Thank God he can't see what's about to happen.
So why he yeah, he didn't get to witness it.
He wished he was deaf after that game too. He's like, I don't want to hear it either.
Yeah.
So the reason Ray Lewis was so imposing was because he was fast as well as being enormous.
Right.
So linebackers these days, because they have to cover tight ends and stuff, are 225, 230 pounds, and they're 4 or 5 guys.
Sure.
Ray Lewis was like 255, but was also a 4'5" guy. And so the fact that he had 2 big like hunks of meat, Tony Siragusa,
the goose,
and Sam Adams, like legit 3+ each.
Right.
So they had like 680 pounds of like fat. It wasn't really fat. It was really like
because if the goose that he hurts too, right?
Yeah, of course. But 680 something pounds of like meat and muscle. In the middle of an offensive line, a defensive line, you can't get to the linebacker.
Yeah,
I mean, like you literally can't squeeze through to get to the linebacker to block him.
Yeah,
and so Ray Lewis just runs sideline to sideline. Yeah, and sideline to sideline at 250 and running a 4.5. This shit hurts.
And they had Ed Reed too, right?
No, he wasn't.
Oh,
there
wasn't on
yet.
that team yet?
I forget who their secondary was. But they were good on all levels.
Yeah, their defense. That was
Had a
like
big
one
safety.
That was one of their big. That was one of the,
they did. And I can't remember
his
name
either.
But I remember that was one of like the best defenses. I remember watching the Super Bowl with my father, and my father was like, "I didn't realize how good this defense is."
Yeah. Who do you think was better, that defense or 86 Giants? That was another good defense.
Oh man, this 86 Giants had a scheme though.
Yeah,
I'd probably say the 86 Giants because it had the greatest player of all time,
LT.
Yeah, and Harry Carson was on that team as well. And I mean they had Carl Banks. Their linebacking core was sick.
Yeah,
in 86.
Do you remember like the Super Bowl? Like, what do you remember about it?
So my Super Bowl knowledge starts probably back in '83 because that's when the Washington Redskins won with Joe Theismann and I grew up in Virginia. So in Southwest Virginia, I'm like 8 years old, and I'm hearing about or 7, and getting ready to turn 8, and I'm hearing about the Super Bowl. Oh, the Washington Redskins won. This is like a big deal.
Hell
I'm
yeah!
like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so I started following the Redskins. So they went back to back.
Right.
But they got destroyed the next year by the Oakland Raiders or the Los Angeles Raiders at the time. And Marcus Allen had one of the greatest runs in the history of a Super Bowl where he started out left, got cut off, he circled back.
I remember that.
And he just shot up the middle of the field to the house. I'm like, what the hell? The hell is this? And that's kind of when I started to fall in love with football. Yeah. And obviously the next season was the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
80, or actually maybe it's 2 seasons later. The Chicago Bears, Walter Payton won. And so football became like a big deal to me around that time. And then in 1988, lo and behold, there's a black quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
When Doug Williams played the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
And Timmy Smith just goes off for 200 yards rushing. And Timmy Smith was like my size. I'm like, dude, look at this little kid. Runs for 200 yards in the Super Bowl against the Broncos. Man, they set a ridiculous record. I think they scored 35 straight points.
Yeah.
And I think they did it in 15 plays or 20 plays or something like that, and all in the second quarter. And Doug Williams is the first black quarterback. 'Cause remember at that time, being a black quarterback was forget.
Yeah. Now it's you're not going to win unless you have a black quarterback. You better not. Don't bring this honky shit out here. I want a black quarterback. The Giants, I'm get the fucking guy out of here.
Yeah. You remember when athlete was code for a black quarterback? Right?
Yeah.
You got an athlete at quarterback.
Now it's
Now if you don't have an athlete at quarterback,
it's look at the difference between Lamar Jackson and Eli Manning.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
No, the game has changed.
Yeah. Now it's that. I feel like in 20 years from now, I mean, it's all going to be black quarterbacks.
What you're going to start seeing,
running,
you're going to see great athletes start gravitating to that position.
Sure.
Right? Because back in the 80s, great athletes didn't gravitate to quarterback.
Right.
They played wide receiver or whatever.
Running back
or whatever it may be. Now they're coming to play quarterback. And it'll be much more of a mix. Like you won't see that traditional drop back.
I think scouts and coaches and things are susceptible to conditioning just like anything else. Even
conditioned thinking, you mean?
Yeah, even though they're trying to win, they get into that prototypical
Well, it's a copycat league, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. That was going to be my next question because, obviously you have an identical brother, Rondé, who's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Who might be here right now. I don't know.
No,
Imagine it was like, hey, guys.
It could be Rondé. No, but it's like
Tiki couldn't make it.
You are pretty skinny.
But it's like, I
don't know.
No, but it's like Rondé Barber, like quietly, it's like that guy's like unbelievable. Like Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl with the Bucs, right? He won,
right?
And it's like he's got like records. It's like that guy's probably going to be.
The fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame is criminal.
Yeah, he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, there's two issues.
If he ever gets inducted to the Hall of Fame, would you show up and take the award?
Good.
That'd be hilarious. Yo, Freddie Feta Cheese.
Yeah, you don't call me Freddie Feta Cheese anymore because you just stuck on Yanni Omos and one eye Yanni, which is what you call me in private.
Well, the thing is, Feta Cheese creeped me out when you first told me that it was sheep's milk. It was from sheep's and goat's milk.
I told you it was goat's milk because I figured you were in Haitian girl, so maybe you'd like that.
Yeah. So the thing is with this is I found Theo's Feta Cheese. Do you know about Theo's Feta Cheese?
Because I'm a Greek kid. Theo's Feta Cheese is the only feta I eat because guess what? It's also good for you because it's made out of cows, so it's not the enemy's
It's
food.
from cow's milk.
Yeah.
Sometimes you sound legally retarded.
I know.
And you're so smart.
I know.
So it's made from cow's milk.
Which means it's Jesus Christ approved.
Exactly. That's what I was going to get to.
Right.
Yeah. It's got probiotics, which is great because you know me, I need my probiotics because I always have diarrhea from whatever antibiotic I'm on.
Yeah.
So this feta cheese has probiotics. You know what's one of the probiotics from cow's milk, and you know what's the best part about it? The kid Theo, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, so when he makes a feta, he talks like this, but he's a Greek kid, so he also says, Mommy, I'm making feta in the basement.
Yeah, and it's actually naturally lower in fat.
Yeah.
So it's nice because I got fat tits.
Fat ass.
And guess what?
What?
Guess where you can purchase Theo's feta cheese?
Where?
At your local Key Food.
Wow.
Yeah, they got one at Sunset Park.
Yeah.
Gristedes,
Greek.
Big Y, King Cullen, Food Town, Met Foods, D'Agostino's,
you dumb fuck.
Associated, Seatown, which get out your food stamps, but they accept that. Super Fresh, Food Emporium, Food Universe, Gintown Meat Farm, Food Dynasty, Compare Foods, Pioneer, Crasdale, Bosuto's, CNS, Porky's, and the biggest one, where you can really get Theo's Feta Cheese, if none of those stores work for you, is Amazon.com. Theo's Feta Cheese. It's one of the only cow milk feta cheeses on the market, and I've had it, and make no mistake, it's really good.
Yeah, and he gets the milk from cows that seem to be manufactured in Wisconsin. That's where the good cheese comes from, Wisconsin.
Oh, right. Wisconsin, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a good Greek kid, and it's high also in vitamin B's and calcium.
Yeah.
So it's good for all people of all races and all ethnicities and all sexualities, which is important nowadays. It actually is just been confirmed that it is the most popular feta cheese amongst transgender, which is most of our fans. Which is a really good thing. So get yourself, everyone loves feta cheese, Cross. You can take feta cheese, you can crumble it, you can stick it in your own asshole. You can do whatever you want with Theo's Feta Cheese, and Theo means uncle, so Uncle Feta Cheese, go get it. Get it at Amazon. Get it at all those supermarkets we just told you. And you can get it online at theosfeta.com. Go to Theos Feta, TheosFeta.com.
All right, now let's get back to Tiki Barber.
Tiki Wiki.
So John Lynch, his teammate, is also a finalist. John Lynch deserves to be in the Hall of Fame as well.
Right.
But you can't have two Buccaneers from the same team going at the same time.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that Warren Sapp is already in from that team, as is Derek Brooks, and their coach, even though he wasn't on the Super Bowl team, Tony Dungy. He built the team.
Right.
He's in the Hall of Fame. So there's like a lot of players
Yeah.
from like a very concentrated moment in Tampa Bay Bucs history
Yeah.
that are Hall of Fame worthy.
Right.
My brother is certainly one of them because he redefined the nickel position in the National Football League. It used to be your nickel was your worst cornerback. Like, the guy who kind of just barely, you throw him in the slot, on third down passing situations. But football was evolving then. And so you needed actually a really good corner to play your nickel, who could tackle and who could rush the passer.
Oh, yeah.
He's got like 28 career sacks, which is, I think he's the only DB that has that, and 40 interceptions. And so
40 interceptions?
40 interceptions.
Holy shit.
28
You got to be in the Hall of Fame with
something.
40 interceptions.
Actually, I think he's got 47 interceptions. So he's just short of 50. He's got all these non-offensive touchdowns, punt blocks, and he obviously shut down the vet, and so Philly fans hate him for life.
Yeah.
With that 92-yard interception.
I remember
return
that,
against Donovan McNabb.
Yeah.
He is definitely a Hall of Famer. But the other issue, other than the one I just mentioned about all the Tampa Bay Buccaneer players and coaches, is that unless you have a narrative, a narrative, this is why you're a Hall of Famer, you don't get in, right? And someone has to advocate for you and preach you. So we're sitting in a room. It's a closed process, by the way. We don't actually know what goes on in this room. And I'm arguing for Rondé. I got to convince you, that my guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Sure.
And if 70% say, I don't really, this guy deserves to be more, then you lose out. You don't get in.
It's the same thing in Hollywood. Like when people advocate for like movies and stuff, it's like the movies that win the Oscars and all that stuff. It's just who's pushed the hardest. It's all PR campaigns.
But it's different in that is all subjective.
This is objective.
Well, this is like, look at the numbers.
Yeah,
I mean, like those are Hall of Fame numbers.
But I would argue, be honest, that the subjectivity often outweighs the objectivity.
I think that's wrong.
It's not wrong, and I'll give you the perfect example. Okay. So 3 years ago, Terrell Owens was coming up to be in the Hall of Fame. T.O., right?
Yeah, sure.
It was like Brett Favre, T.O., and a few other ones that ultimately got in, Kevin Green, etc. And we had a Hall of Fame voter on, and we said, all right, this is easy. Like, we know there's a conversation that goes on. Brett Favre's no discussion. T.O., there's no discussion. He goes, well, hey, hold on. There's going to be a discussion about T.O. We're like, what's the discussion about T.O.? He's the second leading, yards.
Just Jerry Rice
receiver,
is better.
Exactly. Yeah. Receiver, touchdowns. Like what are you arguing? Right?
Yeah.
Don't forget, it took him 3 years to get in, and he boycotted. Right.
Right.
What this voter said, and what I heard subsequently 3 or 4 or 5, maybe even like 10 other voters say, is no team wanted him. At the end of the day, no team wanted him. Therefore, he didn't deserve to be a Hall of Famer, which is purely subjective, right? Because the Philadelphia Eagles certainly wanted him. They paid him. They kept him. And if he's not there, they don't go to the Super Bowl.
Sure.
And they don't almost win that fucking Super Bowl without him, right?
Yeah.
So teams wanted him. Maybe they couldn't deal with him, but that's an interpersonal problem. That has nothing to do with, that's a leadership thing. That has nothing to do with his ability to be one of the great receivers in NFL history. Sure. It took him 3 years because subjectively they decided that narrative was more important than the objective statistics and the eye test that we watched for a decade and a half.
But you agree with that? You think that was? They think that was?
Hell no. He was a first ballot Hall of Famer.
That's what I'm saying.
So
that's wrong.
Objectivity did not win out over subjectivity.
Right.
Like subjectively, they decided teams didn't want him, therefore he doesn't deserve to be a Hall of Famer or first ballot Hall of Famer. Objectively, there is no way.
Right.
Absolutely no way he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Right? The same thing could be said, quite honestly, for Michael Strahan.
Right.
Yeah.
Strahan was not a first ballot Hall of Famer, which makes no sense.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Jason Taylor was a first ballot Hall of Famer. Michael Strahan wasn't?
Yeah.
Like, how do you reconcile that? Right. And that's the subjectivity of the Hall of Fame, the NFL
I
Hall
think
of Fame.
the NFL also has a problem with, like, how many times is a quarterback going to be an MVP?
Yeah.
It's like, and that's another thing. It's hard to quantify. It's hard to like measure.
Yeah, it's true.
Like how important a guy value besides quarterback. Because like last 9 out of 11 or whatever quarterbacks are MVP.
Well, it's like even like the game last week, like Kittle only from the Niners only had 1 or 2 catches, I think, but he was a huge part of the running game because he was blocking everybody.
That's right.
So it's like he could be MVP and he only caught the ball once.
Yeah, you're right.
Such a team sport.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of who the last non-quarterback was.
Non-quarterback MVP.
I mean,
probably
it got close with Todd Gurley with the Rams, but they split it that year. Tom Brady won 3 years ago. 2 years ago. Tom Brady won the MVP, and Gurley won the Offensive Player of the Year. Usually it's synonymous. Right?
Yeah.
But I think that was the last time it was close.
Because this year is going to be Lamar Jackson, right? I mean, it has to be.
It's not even close.
Who else could
Technically, he's a running back.
Do you think
right?
they should?
I know, seriously.
I'm just kidding.
Do you think they should just have different award for the quarterback and then MVP on offense?
No,
and
you
defense?
can't do that because back in the day, and I remember this when I first came into the league, there was a thing called the quarterback club, and it was like a marketing arm of quarterbacks in the NFL, which was separate, like wholly separate than the marketing arm of all the other players and the Players Association.
It's like the quarterbacks have their own lobby group?
Basically.
Wow.
And it was like, and so all this money, I mean, they were already making more money than everybody else. And all this other additional money was being funneled directly to them. And it was just, it I don't know, it just it undercuts the idea of a team sport.
Right.
So I'm going to say no.
Let me ask you this.
I'm going to say it so you don't have to. I know you got a lot of corporate stuff, but I'm going to say that sounds
It looks
pretty.
like LaDainian Tomlinson.
LaDainian Tomlinson, which is one of my favorite names of all time.
Yeah.
I think it was Adrian Peterson.
Oh, that's right.
2012.
AP won because he won. He rushed for 2,000 yards that year.
Yeah.
Yeah. AP in 2012. Before that, probably LaDainian.
Do you, when a guy gets...
I just want to say this.
Oh, go ahead.
I just want to say that so you don't have to say it. That sounds racist to me.
Why?
I think there's racism in that. That
what?
like the quarterbacks were, they had their own lobby, like they were trying to elevate.
Why racist?
Because quarterbacks used to be all white.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I mean, but there were black quarterbacks in there too, like Warren Moon. I was
going to say Warren
there was a few of them. Probably Randall.
Steve McNair, right?
McNair.
Yeah.
He won an MVP. Or
Yeah.
He shared the MVP. So
Yeah.
so it was more. I mean, if athletes were like positions were racist, then yeah, it would be fully racist for quarterback.
Yeah.
It was really just the position,
Right.
Like we championed that position, and that was really.
Do you
I was
though,
wrong about that.
because you had so many players on a football team? Like, would
Yeah.
you ever like 7 games in and be like, I don't know everybody's name on my team?
Oh yeah, I have it all the time. That happens
Like that's
often.
a real thing, right? Where you're like, who the fuck is this guy again? And you literally like halfway
You're
through.
right.
So that's true. That for
Dude,
real that happened.
Dude, there's guys that come up to me now and they're like, "Oh yeah, I played with you back in," and I'm like,
What?
like,
Yeah.
okay.
What are you, fucking special teams?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
You just don't interact with everybody.
Yeah, well,
like you interact with your room, like the running back room. If you're on special teams, I guess
Yeah.
you see more.
Like you knew the linemen and the quarterback and the running
but
backs.
it's all like a room. You spend like 90% of your time in your room. And
Yeah.
it's like a room like this.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be the coach sitting up at the front
Yeah.
and us, 4 or 5 slappies in the back. He's
That's what it
teaching
is.
This, watching film.
And you get a paycheck every 2 weeks? Is that just how it works?
Every week, man.
Every week you're just getting a sick paycheck.
Every week.
Where you're like, holy shit, look at
Yeah.
this.
Well,
You're
I
like,
mean,
Mom.
Early on, no, not so. But once you start making a couple $1 million,
Making real money.
and you see that check is like $300,000 a week, you're like,
fuck yeah. Yeah. How much do you give your, because I want to talk about this with agents.
Yeah.
Because because Richard Sherman was just like, because we talk about this in entertainment. We're like, do we need in this YouTube podcast era, like we need agents to like go book us at the gigs, but like a manager and give them 20% of our money away. It's like, and then
20%.
Well, because 10% to a
Sometimes
manager,
25.
10% to an agent.
Damn.
Yeah, dude. So like,
Highway
like
robbery,
Kevin
bro.
Hart making $35 million a year, his agents get 20%.
No,
Well, agent and manager.
Yeah. So NFL, it's like 1 or 2%.
2% of a big
I think
contract.
that it's max capped at 4 or
Right.
so, but most are only around 2%.
But do you think like what a thing like Richard Sherman did is he setting a precedent like could happen?
yes, but no, because Richard Sherman is smart.
Very smart.
Not,
Stanford alum.
not everybody is smart like that.
Yeah.
And has the
You're smart like that.
yeah, but I think I'm lazy like that when it comes
So
to
if you were, that's going to be my question because when I think of Richard Sherman, you guys both are
Yeah.
hyper intelligent like that. To me, being around you and the companies that you have now to help the athletes. But so you think if you were a player right now, you would keep your agent?
I would keep my agent because players tend to bet on themselves, right? And if you're a quarterback and you're not going to get hurt because you can't get touched anymore,
Right.
You can bet on yourself. You don't necessarily need
Right.
an agent. You need someone to market you and build you up and maybe sell you. But for other position players, you tend to bet on yourself.
Right.
And so Richard Sherman, it worked out this year, right? He
Right.
had a $4 million contract or $5 or $6 million contract or whatever it was. He ended up making an extra $4 or so million in incentives because he made the Pro Bowl and the team went to the postseason and he played at like 90 or whatever percent of those snaps or whatever it may be. But it's kind of circumstance, right? He's coming off an Achilles.
I know.
Like he coming off an Achilles tear, and he's betting on himself to play 90% of the plays,
And he did.
and make the Pro Bowl,
Yeah.
and then get to the postseason,
Yeah.
right? For a team that was 4-12 last year,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
So he bet on himself, and it worked out,
Right.
because of circumstance,
Right.
Most guys are going to make that bet, and it's not going to work.
And they're going to fuck themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're going to cost themselves money. And so what an agent does is protect you against yourself.
Well, for 1 to 2%,
Especially in
I
football, where so much is out of your control.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nothing guaranteed.
Yeah.
But for 1 to 2%, I would keep the agent too. But 10% is dude, we give 20% of our money away. And then if a lawyer negotiates a TV deal, it's 5%.
Yeah.
So that you could get 20.
Dude, how do you make any money?
Dude,
rough.
and then we get taxed.
Yeah.
Bro, 65% of our money is fucking gone.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
It's just an
crazy.
old,
But
it's
it's
an
all
old system that needs to be revisited.
It's conditioned thinking again. It's like, I shouldn't be having to give you 10%.
No.
You know?
How much work are they doing? I guess that's
They
the
do
question.
nothing.
Well, look, the thing is this. For an agent,
Because I would imagine, it sounds like there's an opportunity, like a business opportunity here. Because I would think,
that's why I'm bringing it up.
yeah, I think that finding the inbounds are the hard thing, right? Finding the opportunities for you are the hard thing.
Yes.
Right. How do you know what's out there and available, or
Right.
that, hey man, that role might be perfect for me.
Right.
How it works now is that somebody's got to find it. An agent has to find it and be like, oh yeah, Chris would be good for that.
Sure.
Right. So I'm going to pitch him.
Yeah.
Right. But if you could do that inbound work yourself, or it was automated, then you don't the 10% is not justified anymore.
And that's
right?
and that's the point we're getting to in entertainment now. Like the agents still need to call up the club or the theater and say, hey, can I get, they have deals with them. Like Live Nation owns 90% of the theaters you can work. So you have to kind of go through them because they have deals with the agents. The managers, though, which is like give 10%, it's like, now it's like, hey, like I know you personally. So like 10, 15 years ago, it's like, oh, my manager would have gotten us a guest like you.
Yes.
But now it's like we all are interconnected through social media and YouTube. Like even if I didn't know you, I could have just took a shot in the dark and DM'd you because I'm the one with the big account, a bigger account. And then you're going to respond to me, not my manager.
Yeah.
Where it used to be in the 90s, like I can't even get to you without it. So it's becoming like they're trying to justify their jobs. But when I saw what Richard Sherman was doing, like I don't know that I'm going to do that just yet, but I'm just starting to think like, hey, like we don't need.
Yeah, how can I do that?
Yeah, like how much of these outside stuff is needed? I understand what you're saying in the NFL, it is still needed.
Yeah.
But here it's like there's no incentives for me. It's like either you sell the tickets or you don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But most of the ticket sales are going to come from reputation, right?
Exactly.
People are going to look him up. It's like,
look,
that's the racist guy from
Ultimate Beef Fest. I'm going to buy it. He's this is Georgia.
I think in our business, the more tickets you sell, the more you can make that decision.
Right.
If you're selling out, you really could get rid of your manager.
But look,
how do you hit that point? Right. I know Malcolm Gladwell has that book Tipping Point, and I've only read it in pieces, but like there's a point where it's becomes self-fulfilling. Right, you just sell out. But how do you get to that point? I'm asking you all.
Yeah, there's
how do you get to that point where you're? I know when I book this, it's selling out.
There's two ways I think now, especially. There's one is you're pushed.
Okay.
Like so, the industry just pushes you, publicists, you get in movies.
But how do you get them to do that?
They see you and they see you fulfill sort of a void in the marketplace or with your talent, that combination, and they just push. Like they see someone, that's an untapped market. Especially recently, they're going like, Asian or whatever, and they go like, they push.
Yeah.
And the talent, of course, a person's really talented. And the other way is the grind out way, which seems to be working for the most people, is digitally, where you just build it like we're doing it.
Right.
Like we sold out our first theater show, and little by little, it just kind of grassroots, kind of amasses.
I remember when you guys first started this thing.
Yeah. And now it's like we're
Like,
doing
what are
theaters.
You two fucks doing?
Yeah. You would have never showed up if it was episode 2. Chris would have been like, hey, Tiki, you would have been on. You would have been like,
I would have.
Nope.
I absolutely would.
No, you would've, Chris. You
No, but now it's like I mean, our guests are, we've had you, Jim Gaffigan, Bill Burr, Neil deGrasse Tyson,
I love
like
that guy.
all these guests. It's like, and that's what I mean. Like they all came to us, or we have relationships with them. Where it's like back in the day, it's like you would need your manager, agent to get these relationships, because that's really what it's about, is relationships. I mean, this whole thing, I'm sure it's the same in the NFL. It's nepotism, right? Like
it's true.
Even
look at the coaching ranks, man. It's all nepotism.
well, I was going to say, like, even a guy that gets like when you played University of Virginia, right?
Yep.
So when you went to Virginia, it's like there was maybe a guy not as good as you, but like that could have made the team too. But like they found you first through like marketing and PR stuff. So that's part of it too. Like I know I heard LeBron James talking about all these camps, like the ABCD camp that he used to go to, and how his son, it's marketing. It's like now they all have Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts, where it's like you got to get recognized. Like there's comedians who are as funny as us, but they don't have marketing.
Yeah,
so
they
not
don't
getting
know how
reps.
to do it. Yeah, that's true. My son is that way now because everything is over Twitter. He's 17 years old. He's up in Greenwich High School. He's a pretty good football player. But I'm like, how are you communicating with coaches? Because I remember when I was, this is 25 years ago, when I was getting recruited, Like they literally had to pick up the phone and hope that I was home.
Right.
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 I got to pick 7. I forget what my area code was now because it changed, but whatever it was, 989-4191. Let's call Tiki. Right.
Right. Right.
Like, hey, you thinking about schools? This is Coach whatever from University of. I'm like, dude, how'd you get my number? Right.
Yeah, it's weird.
And now they just let's see, H.A. Barber,
Boom.
tweet. This is Coach from Hey, send us
Bang.
a note, and that's how it works. It's
Yeah.
like so connected. Like the world is so connected now, and it's almost too easy.
Well, it's too easy. And that's why I think like when I look, especially like because I love basketball, I've played it. And, to follow some of these like high school basketball recruits, I mean, they got 300, 400,000 Instagram followers, verified accounts. They post a video of them, some skill thing, and it's some of them get millions of views, and it's like they should be getting paid for that.
That's right.
Like, they should be getting money for that because
should be.
It's like a company like a fucking Colgate toothpaste wants to put an ad for that on that kid's Instagram. Like, give him $20,000 to do that.
Yeah.
He's got the fans.
Look, he's an influencer.
Yeah.
So I started a company about 6 years ago. It was called Thusio, but it now split. One is called Julius, and the other one is Thusio. Thusio does events. We're doing a kick-ass party at the Super Bowl, by the way, with Steve Young, who won his last Super Bowl in Miami. So it's kind of cool.
There you go.
Nice.
Lefty. And he's one of the only lefties.
That's right. But the other side is called Julius. It's an influencer marketing company. And so brands, you're trying to find the perfect influencer for a local campaign or a national campaign. But let's just say you're in, I don't know, Dubuque, Iowa, and there's some
shithole
stud, but there's a, let's say there's a 6'6" stud like basketball player, and this kid is crushing it, high school, whatever, maybe even getting ready to go to college, and some local entity wants to use his celebrity to promote something.
Yeah.
Why can't he? That's capitalism.
Absolutely.
It's capitalism. That's what this country was built
It's all
on,
about
right?
eyeballs. If those eyeballs are on you, you should get paid for it.
Get paid for it.
Yeah.
I can understand the arguments of like NCAA not want to pay players. I get it, but I
don't
still
get
think
that.
I still think they should be paid too.
Yeah, they got.
But I'm saying the social media accounts. I mean, you have to allow them to do that.
Yeah.
They have to be able to make money off
They
their
got to
likeness.
get paid, man. They're
too famous, man.
I mean, it's just like the coaches
It's a
getting
brand. You own your brand. Doesn't matter what you do, where you go to.
It's your brand, man.
I mean, why do tennis players get to go professional at 17 and get paid? I mean, like, you know.
So you think it's more conditioned thinking?
It's a conditioned thinking where a college system, they're going, hey, you're getting a free education. You're like, why do I need a free education? I'm this good at basketball.
Yeah, but
it's like, does my English degree do anything for me?
So who was I listening to? Dax Shepard.
Dax Shepard. Yeah, sure. He's got a
doing a
podcast.
podcast with T.I.
Okay.
All right. And one of the things that he was talking about was how when T.I. was talking about this, when he was in school, he was a terrible student. But the one thing that he loved was literature. Like the punctuation and like similes and metaphors and all this other stuff, which helped him in his craft. And so but he was failing math. I think this is the example he was using. So the principal called him in. He's like, why don't you work hard? We know you're smart. He's like, because like school is prepping all of us students to go do something, get into the workforce. But I already know what the fuck I want to do. Right. So I'm taking out what I need, which was the English and the literature side of it, and using it. And then my strength, and because I know that's what's going to help me down the line.
Yeah.
And so back to your point with NCAA, like kids go to college for football because they have to. You can't. What are you doing from 3 years post high school before you get to the National Football League? There's only one place to go learn, or at least grow as an NFL player. That's college.
Right.
Same thing happens in the NBA. Some of these kids could go at 17 or 18 to the NBA, but currently there is a 1-year rule. You have to go do something, go to college or go overseas, and sometimes you get lost when you go overseas. So the best bet is to go to college.
Right.
Mr. Alonzo, or what's his name, LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So like the NCAA has created this conversation, and I'm only talking about these athletes that are destined to be pros. Not the guys that have illusions that they're going to be.
So you're only talking about 1% of these college athletes.
Exactly. But that's who we're talking about.
Right.
Who is this? Like Johnny Manziel is not out of it. He was the 1%.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Todd Gurley and Joe Burrow and all these other great college stars that drive revenue to the NCAA and grab our attention on Saturday afternoons and for the national championship and college football playoffs. It's that 1%.
Right.
Like those guys can't be paid because the NCAA claims, well, you're getting an education. Okay, but like I need an education to be a pro. Right. So, and being a pro is also managing your finances and using your brand to grow yourself. Right. So I know what the narrative, I know what the story is of the NCAA. It's slightly askew. It's not quite right, and they're trying to figure it out.
What do you think's going to happen?
Well, let me just go one farther than him, because I feel like if you're not going to pay the players, then don't charge admission, don't take contracts. Otherwise, what's the difference
That's interesting.
between the money
Like
being
an
made?
intramural sport.
Yeah, if you're going to make them play intramural, everybody's got to play intramural.
That's interesting.
My coach is getting $50 million a year.
Yeah.
I'm on the team. People come to see me play. Everyone's making money down to the hot dog vendors. This whole thing is monetized, except the whole reason why we're in the stadium. It's not right. It's basically a professional sport. And you got to remember, in a lot of these places, it is the professional sport. Ohio State?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a professional.
Alabama?
Alabama?
Who gives a fuck about Alabama other than their football
So
team?
you tell me because they're 17?
I mean, that's a state I'd give to ISIS tomorrow.
You tell me because they're reading you're telling me because they're reading The Catcher in the Rye? They're reading The Catcher in the Rye, they're not going to get paid?
Yeah, it's like
what the
Alabama.
fuck, dude?
Besides football, it's like get on the front lines of these fucking wars and get the fuck out of here.
That's all they're
we
good
don't give
for.
a shit. You're Alabama. Go fucking Cousins. We want to watch football.
But that's what they're basically doing. They're going, hey, you can't get paid because you got to go read fucking Chaucer for an hour.
Yeah,
even though
sure.
everyone else is making millions of dollars off your back, including your jersey number.
That's right.
I mean, it's ridiculous,
It's
man.
stupid.
It's ridiculous.
But
And
hopefully it'll change.
it has to.
It
'cause
will.
It's just not right.
Well, the only way that it will change is if Trump gets 4 more. That's who'll change it.
I got to ask Tiki a question. I'm
Yeah.
curious about football wise.
Who'd you vote for? Oh,
No, he'll never
you know
say
it's
that.
Trump. He made money.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Millionaires, baby.
Yeah.
I think I abstained.
No, I'm kidding.
I did not.
So
Yeah.
I'm
I
really.
voted for Harambe.
It was my first non-successful presidential vote.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Yeah. So this is my thing. This is a football related question. I'm so curious about how a former football player or football player feels about field goals. Because let me tell you,
What's wrong with field goals?
I hate them. I hate
Why?
Because I hate watching a game where you guys are putting it out on the line, bleeding, like putting your bodies on the line. The defense gets a stop. Now these guys are kicking from the other side, 50. The guy's not a player. He's a converted soccer player. He prances onto the field, and now the game is on his foot?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
what kind of shit is that?
Yeah, it's a team sport. You got to execute.
I hate
no matter
that.
how small your role is. Look, so Jay Feely was a good friend of mine. He's a colleague now at CBS. He does games, and we played. I remember this game. We played in Seattle, and it was a tight. And Seattle is hard. CenturyLink is loud. It's like they have it's outdoor, but it's like curved.
Yeah, it's
so all the sound like just funnels right back down into the field, and so you can't hear anything. So
They have a true home field advantage.
at the 12th man, like I think they trademarked it, whatever. And so, but it's amazing to play there, but hard as hell to play there. So we're playing a game there, and like it's just back and forth, and gets into overtime, and we're like, we got to find a way to win this game. So I like break off this long run, right? I cut through the line of scrimmage and make a guy miss, and I'm running down the sideline, and I'm actually cognizantly aware of where I am. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's redundant, but it doesn't matter. I'm aware of where I am, and like I'm like I see the 30, right, or the 40, and I see the 30. I'm like, all right, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Like instead of like trying to break a tackle and go get 5 more, I'm like, all right, I'm going to just step out of bounds here.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Step out of bounds over time, and he'd already missed 2 kicks in this game, by the way.
Yeah.
And so we line up, center the ball, gets up there, he misses the kick. He misses the kick. So it's exactly your point. I know exactly what you mean. Back, it was so bad because he missed like 3 kicks in that game that SNL did a skit on him. On
Holy
a kicker.
shit.
SNL
I think
did
I
a
remember
skit
this, actually.
on Jay Feely
Yeah.
because of that. Now, we felt terrible because it's like you just cost us the game, dude. But
Yeah.
he's still our boy.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, he's still your teammate. And
Yeah.
I think that's why as
that's
a
the-
So nobody's
player,
mad at the kicker.
you're not. Like you understand it because like I don't know, 4 weeks earlier I might have fumbled in a critical situation.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
It's football needs execution on every level from everybody.
Right.
But my question is, does the sport need it? Like,
Yeah, of
would it
course
be a
it
better
does.
game if the defense gets a stop on the one and it's all about the guys in the field? Like what's the extra point? What are we doing? What is the extra
Well, I mean,
point?
they're trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, what's
It's how about,
that?
like, moving it back.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying attention at that
Nobody
point.
pays
Yeah, I
attention.
mean,
No, but now because they moved it back a little bit, kickers do miss it at a higher percentage.
I know,
now.
but like, what's the point of it? Like, what does it? Is it exciting to watch? Is it like nothing about it is good?
Well-
a guy misses, you just go.
Well, people have started to miss it now.
Yeah,
I think the reason that they moved it back was because of exactly what you were saying.
Right.
It was a foregone conclusion. It's like you scored a touchdown, it was 7.
Yeah.
You didn't speak in 6s. You spoke in 7s when you scored a touchdown.
Right.
Because it was automatic, because it was on the 2-yard line. Now it's not necessarily automatic, even though they're still making, I think, like a 92% connection percentage. But still, there is that 0.8% that might not get it. So
Yeah. Do you ever think, like, when you were like playing or like no players, like I was, because sometimes like we just have bad shows because we're like mentally, like I'm just like, I don't want to be here. I feel lightheaded.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like we've just like, ugh, I don't want to do this. But the audience would never know. Do you think as players, sometimes you're like, you had a bad game. People are like, oh, so-and-so had a bad game. It's like, because they were going through some shit personally.
Yeah. No,
like,
it happens all the time, dude.
It's crazy. Because we don't think about that.
You got in a fight at home or whatever it may be.
Or you just have to take a shit, something.
And it's even worse.
Seriously.
It's even worse because they got to hear about it on TV. Like he could be going through, he could have injuries. He could be going through something at home that like would derail us, like we'd cancel a whole weekend. And then he's got to hear these pundits on TV going, he just doesn't have it anymore. Tiki Barber. And you're going, dude, you play with a fucking you do that show with a broken rib, you fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I wrong?
You're right.
Yeah.
No, it's
but
like
I always played through it.
human beings, man.
It's tough.
I mean,
tough.
That must be rough to have to hear it on TV.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't know because if you're going to be like, players don't complain.
It's worse now because, I mean, forget what you hear on TV. It lives. Right?
Yeah.
It lives in a meme forever.
Yeah.
And just compounds itself over and over and over and over again.
Right.
On social media. I'm glad I didn't play in the social media.
Yeah, it makes it
would've-
worse.
Oh, my God.
I mean,
yeah.
you wonder why, and I'm joking, but I shouldn't be, but you wonder why these guys have like psychological issues and like,
Sure.
mental issues. It's like,
Well, look.
they become obsessed with like reading their mentions and
Yeah.
like,
It's a
what
problem.
are they saying about me?
Well,
I got to respond.
well,
I got to clap back at this. Like, why?
I was just thinking too, like even like OBJ, Odell Beckham, like all the shit that he was doing at LSU, like, you know, slapping the security guard or being stupid with the money. That's all social media shit. Like in 1990, that would have never, nobody would have filming him.
It's also alcohol. I'm just
Yeah.
It's a little bit of that, but you do make a point.
Yeah,
now that's
right.
like a big deal. Whereas in like the 80s,
no one.
Lawrence Taylor was smoking crack.
Yeah, and nobody knew it but his teammates.
Nobody knew.
Yeah.
There's that one story where he asked the teammate, where are we? What game will we have next week? I mean, the kid didn't know what he was, and he was still the best player to ever play.
Oh yeah, LT baby.
Yeah, I mean, Charles Barkley. I mean, imagine Charles Barkley playing in the social media era.
Oh my God.
It's like he was out till 7 tomorrow.
Yeah, it's just a new thing.
Him and Dan Marley used to crush the nightclub scene.
Remember Dan Marley,
Yeah.
Thunder Dan?
They used to plot a lot.
Majorly? What?
Yeah.
Dan Madrigley.
Daddy M.
Yeah, he was definitely on steroids.
Yes, just
No.
yeah, it probably was.
There was an era where you look back and you're going like, everyone looked like a superhero.
I just think now, especially with baseball, it's like with all the cheating scandals and the steroids, like just have a steroid fucking league.
Yeah.
Just have a league where you can cheat.
Yeah.
Just have a league where you can have buzzers and juice, and we'll just go watch that league because this other bullshit is getting.
Are you guys big baseball fans?
Love
Yeah,
baseball.
Yankees.
And yeah, we're pissed off about the Astros. I knew we had a buzzer on them.
Which one is worse, the steroids or the buzzer?
The buzzer.
That's a
the
great
buzzer to me.
question.
The buzzer.
I think it's the buzzer.
The
as well.
buzzer's way worse.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because we talked about this too on my show. The precision. Like
Yeah.
baseball is a sport of like you could take steroids in baseball. Right? You still got to hit a fucking ball.
Yeah.
Right? You still got to hit it.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe you have a better, you swing velocity or whatever it may be. You still can and maybe it helps you a little bit.
Right.
But to know what's coming,
Yeah.
baseball?
But
Forget
something has to happen. Like you have to suspend something. Like you can't just.
Well, they gotta prove it.
Well, the thing is, you got to prove it, and
proved
it's
it.
like if you open up that can of worms, then it's like, how do you know the fucking Yankees didn't do it? Or allegedly they're all doing that. It's just who got caught.
Yeah.
You know,
Again, it's about the same thing happened with the Patriots, though. Everybody was like stealing signs, and
it's just part of the game.
you just got caught because the Jets are,
What do you think is going to happen, though? You think like Altuve is going to have to get suspended if they could prove that they'd never be able to prove that there was a buzzer on his jersey.
It's like the same thing with
they
Pete
supposedly
Rose.
investigated it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like Pete Rose. Like probably he wasn't the only guy betting on baseball.
No.
Like that. But when you get caught, it's like you got to do something. You can't just go like slap on like people. Like I'm against him being in the Hall of Fame. Because you just can't.
Really? Why?
Because you can't. Because then you set a precedent there. You go like the guy's betting on himself, betting on games.
Yeah,
put
but
money-
now, with all the cheating in baseball, it's like I kind of feel like everybody should put Bonds in, put
That's
A-Rod in.
the lesser of the
Yeah.
of the ills that have ever gotten to into Major League Baseball.
well, whatever ills it are.
By the
you
way,
get-
he always bet on himself. Like he didn't go to his bookie. He bet at the beginning of the season and said, and this is from his mouth. He may be lying to me, but I don't know. From his mouth, I bet Reds to win every game. He figured he's betting on himself and he's going to win more than he's going to lose.
But it's a slippery slope. If you let that go, then other guys start betting against. They start shaving points, and you're in the Black Sox thing.
Well, the Black Sox things happen because there's interactions with bookies. It's the same thing with City College, right? In the 50s. Like, it's when the bookies get involved and the bookies are leaning on you, like, hey, dude, you said you were going to throw this game. What the fuck? Right? You better lose this one or win this one by 20 or lose it by 15, whatever it may be. That's when it gets dangerous.
Right.
But if you're not interacting with the bookie,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Playing in New York, did you ever, or maybe not you, but like hear of like guys getting to the Giants, like mafia guys getting to the Giants and the Jets?
I never
You just
did.
can't, right?
Never did.
It's hard to get to the pros.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Especially these days, because you can go get protected, right?
Yeah. I always thought about that with New York sports teams. I was like, I wonder if like the Russian mob or whatever, like these guys, they
probably
could just
an era before me.
Yeah.
that might have been
some shit.
some stuff, but not my era.
Yeah, like, because I look back at that, just to switch sports again, basketball, that Sacramento-Los Angeles game where the foul call, do you remember that game? The ref who actually got caught was reffing that game. And it was like the sixth.
When Divac got fouled? Was that Vlade Divac?
It was Bibby. It was, Dahi was reffing the game. Sacramento, I thought they got robbed then.
Yeah.
And then all this stuff come out, and I'm like, I mean, Mike Bibby got raped.
Oh, yes, I remember that. I remember that.
Raped.
Yeah.
And there was no call, and there was a few calls like that. Sacramento was going to win that series, and then they would have went on to win the championship, because what did they end up playing? The Nets or something like that?
Yeah.
I think that was the year Jason Kidd was carrying that team.
Yeah.
So it was like, they were going to win. They were the better team. They played better the whole time, and it's like you're looking back going, and then you found out that he was doing that, and you're going like, that was thrown. That kid was fucking thrown, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch that replay. Do you know the play I'm talking about? Do you remember?
I remember Mike Bibby getting really.
He got raped.
Yeah. Stop saying raped.
I know.
You can't say it. Tiki's too corporate. Stop saying that word. Tiki's got $1 million businesses. Stop saying it. You look like a psycho. You look like a pedophile.
You said it before. If you remember, you said it like 4 times too. So I'm just
not with Tiki.
No, you did in this episode.
No
I
way.
can't remember what
Did
it
I
was.
say it?
Fact check.
Yeah, it was somebody said raped. Okay, he got molested. No, that's not good either.
That's bad.
He got fucked. That sucks. He got assaulted.
Well, Tiki's got to go anyway. So, dude, I appreciate it. You're great.
I like hanging out with you.
You're just a great guy. We got to hang out more.
Can we do another Beastmaster?
Yeah, you want to do another Beastmaster?
Let's shoot it ourselves.
I was going to say, that's the beauty of 2020. We could just shoot it ourselves. We literally could just go shoot it ourselves and do it, and it would probably get more views. Yeah. We won't get any money, but we'd probably get more views. I would love to go back to that Beastmaster. I mean, we are having a wild, wild time. I mean, that was.
I just remember you guys going, and he makes it through the dragon's mouth, and he's into the beast blood.
Yeah.
Down into the bowels of the beast.
Well, it was so great because Tiki is like so good at the X's and O's. Like he studied that course and would know like this point and that point. I just had no idea what was going on. I was just waiting to make fun of somebody from another country. I was just waiting to just kind of have some borderline racist joke and just throw it out.
Just give us 10 years. It'll find cult status.
Remember how fucking cold it was?
Oh,
still
it was
freezing. Tiki's head was steaming.
You're right.
Yeah.
I was trying to like be cool, like, hey, here we are.
Yeah.
It's not cold.
Oh my God, that was
Had
crazy.
long underwear on. It was
Yeah.
nuts.
No, it was a cool opportunity.
But we look cool.
We did look cool. Those jackets were cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never got mine, but
I didn't get that one. I got the next year.
next year's one. But the next year, nobody talks about the next year's one. They only talk about our season, baby.
That's right.
That's it. That's it.
You
What
almost
can
had
do?
like it's almost like you wish that it was a bigger story. You got fired, and so at least you could have been like had some. It was like you got fired, and it was like
It wasn't even announced.
It wasn't.
Nobody cared.
Know.
Yeah.
Nobody knew.
Yeah, no.
I didn't even know. I was
no,
like, what?
no. The people only know. People, message me and they're like, I only even know about the show because you mentioned getting fired, and I didn't even know it existed. Yeah.
I remember Chris pulled up this one tweet from a guy, and he goes, "What am I going to tell my daughter?" Remember,
Yeah.
he was like, "How can I even?" And we're like, "What are you talking?"
Yeah. It was like no. He said his son. He was like, how am I? He's like, I'm sitting here as a father watching this with my son, and how am I supposed to tell him that the host of Ultimate Beastmaster speaks this way? I was like, you should just tell your son your dad's a homo.
Hey, you don't mean you mean that you don't.
Oh, I mean that, but I mean that in a positive way. I mean that whatever you want, whatever your sexuality is, I support it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You meant like more
He's
of
got a homogeneous homogeneous personality.
Yeah, homogeneous personality.
All the same.
Absolutely.
It was short for homogeneous.
Dude,
the
gayest thing that straight guys do is wear, like, I've had a Tiki Barber jersey. I'm just wearing another guy's name on my back.
Guy.
That's gay.
I interviewed him on my old show, 2 Point Lead, and I don't know if you remember, I had a signed photo framed in my living room.
From Tiki?
Yes.
Yeah,
I did.
You have special needs.
I know.
We call him special needs Stamos.
I grew up in New York. I love Tiki Barber.
Who doesn't love Tiki Barber?
I'm an adult. You got to play it off. But when he leaves, I'm going to go, yes!
Yeah, Tiki!
Tiki was here.
Yes!
Because, I mean, you guys are superheroes for us when
Chris
we're
is
little.
like, I saw him in his underwear.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've seen Tiki at his worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you,
man.
Tiki. We appreciate it, brother. Do you have anything to promote or your show, Tiki and Tierney?
Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio.
Boom, boom, boom. Oh, yeah. You can find all my dates, chrisdcomedy.com, February 8th, Kennedy Center, February 28th, 29th, Hilarities Cleveland, and April 18th, Victoria Theater, Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, and when are we doing? We're doing our history.
Well,
Hyenas.
yeah, but we're not announced it yet.
Okay,
we got to win it because this is not on the Patreon yet.
Okay, well, I'm just going to say,
live?
Connecticut, get excited. That's
Connecticut, get excited.
Yeah.
No, we're doing like a big live theater history Hyena show, but we can't say when or where yet.
Yeah, not yet.
But it's coming.
And I'm going to be at Gotham February 21st and 22nd. And then in February next weekend, Uncle Vinny's February 27th, 28th in New Jersey, Point Pleasant.
Very cute. And as always, historyhyenas.com for all our stuff. Patreon.com/Bay Ridge Boys for all the extra tidbits. Join Patreon.com/Bay Ridge Boys right now. We're going to post shirtless pictures of Tiki Bar. Goodbye.
Brooklyn in the house.
Yeah.